And usually the feeling that is the clencher in this kind of reality creation is gratitude. Stop pretending like you're not the big G, like you're not playing the game as the main character. You see, this is the cognitive dissonance that a lot of people are suffering with in the modern world at the moment, is that you believe, to a certain degree, that you don't deserve some of the things that you are so determined to bring into reality. And when you frame yourself from that perspective, that you are in a constant, perpetual state of getting or desiring or working towards said goal, then you affirm it and you make it concrete in the fact that you will always be in that cycle, that you'll always be nearly there or not quite close to where you want to be. And there becomes the root of your problem. It is this paradigm shift that I'm hoping I'm going to communicate as eloquently and as comprehensively as possible to you this fine afternoon in the UK, that will hopefully change the paradigm and you can begin acting from that place of the main character, the big G. So here is the secret, as my late guru Neville Goddard would say: feeling is the secret. Now, feeling, emotions are energies of motion. You would have heard me say this many times before on this channel. It's energetic, and therefore it creates the kinetic and physical elements of your experience day to day. In order to create that energetic feedback, it needs to be paired with a thought. This is the foundation of reality creation. It's you have the thought, you have the feeling, and then you marry those two together in sacred ceremony. So the thought is, and you'll believe, it's unbelievable how many people aren't consciously creating their reality. I mean, think about that. When's the last time, I want you to be brutally honest with yourself, aggressively honest with yourself. When is the last time you sat down in a room, in a quiet room, without music, without the TV, without any kind of distraction, and you sat down and you just thought about your dream life? You just imagine that for a moment. Maybe you can indulge me in this experiment now before the screens and the other distractions grip you and they take you away from what is the most important thing you're trying to achieve right now. I mean, if you can't do this, this is basics, guys. So sit down in a chair and think about that dream scenario that you have been mulling over, especially in those destitute moments where your boss starts cussing you out, or somebody cuts you up in traffic, or somebody dumps some kind of emotional baggage on you and you thought, oh, if only I was here. That's when you think of those moments, in those moments of duress. But I'm offering you an opportunity to think of those moments in moments of calm, tranquility, peace, because you'll have far more clarity and you'll be able to execute on that imagination, that vision, with far more intensity and more accuracy, of course. So sit down in that chair and visualize with great detail from first person. This is the most important thing, from experiencing it out of your eyes, your dream scenario. Perhaps you are envisioning that trite image of a Mediterranean beach, white sand, and you can feel the heat through your feet and your hands and the graininess of the sand. And you are perhaps also drinking from an ice cold pina colada, and you can feel the sweetness in your mouth with the alcohol as well, the bitterness of the alcohol. And you're looking out onto a sea of blue, clear waters, and you shut your MacBook down and you say to yourself, oh, I'm so glad that I can work anywhere in the world, that I have no roots to any particular place because I can make money online. What an imagination, what an idea, what an experience that would be. And then the more and more you do this, paired the vision with the thought, the feeling that you would get, and usually the feeling that is the clencher in this kind of reality creation is gratitude, is that again, I'm so gracious. I'm so thankful that this is my life now, that I can experience this. And you might even begin to start to sense those kinetic feedbacks in the forms of your heart swelling, your arteries opening, and that kind of flooding feeling of fullness in your chest, and it swells, and you can start to embody that more and more and more. You want to be doing this with your eyes closed as well, because the 3D realm, this will kind of trick you. This is the game you play with reality. Is you have to almost approach it with the, let's say, the innocence and whimsy of a child, like they're in an imagination land and they think they're, a knight or a princess, and you just have to play a joke with it. It's old reality trying to trick me into thinking that this is my life, that this is the cubicle of my workspace that I live in. You want to live and stay in imagination land. Trust me, this is the key roots to it. And many others will try and play their tricks on you. They'll try and convince you that this is all real, that no, that beautiful reality that we just talked about, that's out of reach for you. That isn't going to happen, my friend. You are resigned and confined to this cubicle and these stale, ready meals that you preheat in that microwave, and your colleagues who are also mundane and bored and emotionally what would you say, taxed. This is the real life, and they try and drag you back from that image. See, those are the thoughts that's perpetuating them, that's running them every single day. It's, I need to get up and go back to this mundane feeling. And then this is reaffirmed by the feelings of inadequacies, dullness, apathy, things like that. I mean, think about that. When's the last time you actually felt that feeling of gracious, those higher emotions, as we talk about in Dawkinson's scale, letting go, those higher quality emotions of peace, tranquility, enlightenment, acceptance, courage? When's the last time you paired those higher quality emotions with a vision that was so grand? When's the last time you took time out of your day that would otherwise be used on perpetuating some of the negative things that we've already talked about, on actually visualizing that scenario again and pairing it with those strong emotions that are very, very high in their vibrancy? When's the last time you did that? Be honest with yourself, because that is the secret. Because, as I've said many times before, as neuroscientists and scientists believe without a shadow of a doubt, or know without a shadow of a doubt, is that there is no difference. The body doesn't know the difference, between an event that is happening in the 3D realm that you can pick up with your sensory organs, your eyes, your ears, your taste buds, and an imagined event that you close your eyes and you recite this visual scenario. It doesn't know the difference. So the question then you have to ask yourself is, if you are able to convince your body, your sensory organs, your meat vehicle, that you were living a higher quality of life, of such of the things that I've mentioned to you far, then you would carry yourself from the perspective of this individual who has no ties to where they lay their head, that they are financially abundant. And how would you walk? How would you talk? How would you interact with other people? You would interact with them from this perspective, from this paradigm, from this experience of someone who is your higher self, let's call it. Think about that. See, it doesn't need to be such a esoteric and metaphysical and spiritual thing. I mean, it is in some narratives, but the world is a mirror. That's the easiest way to convey this phenomenon and why it's so powerful. The world is a mirror. It only reflects that in which you feel inside. You can only see a smile in the reflection of said mirror unless you first smile into it, and it will smile right back at you. And you'll notice this on the streets. Like, here's an example. I used to be fairly, anxious and socially insecure in the fact that when I was interacting with new people, I was fairly reserved, closed. My shoulders would come in, I would close down my body, my head would drop. I mean, this is an over-exaggeration, but then how do you think other people respond to that? I mean, objectively, if you saw someone behaving the way that I was behaving there in a party, a kind of social gathering, your objective assumption would be that that person doesn't want to interact, that they're closed down, that they're closed off to life, that they don't want to be personable and make new friends. And the reality of the matter is, maybe you can do this as a social experiment. Maybe you can then, if this is something that you struggle with, is push your chest out, pop your shoulders to the back, open up your heart, look up, approach people with a smile. What is that telling that person instead? I know these are simple things, but you do them subconsciously, unconsciously. You have your patterns, you have your social, patterns, a way of doing things. And we think these grand visions that we would like to see, like the idyllic sitting on the sandy beach, the white sandy beach, has to be such a drastic, something drastic has to happen in their life. But it can be as simple as talking to somebody new, being open to a new experience, meeting the right people, talking to the right people, putting yourself out there, being open to other opportunities. That's how it happens. And for that reality, for that particular experience to happen, you have to first approach it with the correct feeling inside. Nobody who's nihilistic and in apathy could be open to those situations. So the keys to success start with the reality, reality creation in the form of thoughts, but paired with the feeling that you hold inside yourself as you go about your day to day. This is crucial. This is essential. Might even be more important than thought creation, but you can tell I'm very charged up this afternoon. Meditate on that, brothers, and tell me what you think. If you subscribe to anything of what I've said this afternoon, then you can subscribe to me, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Take care.